welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. If you're here, you are a 6-3 profile or the role model martyr. If you don't know, there is a link in the description below for you to get your human design body graph. And it'll tell you on there what your profile is. Of course, all are welcome though. I mean, you know, if you are called to this video, great. Please stay. So I figured we'll just do a quick overview of your profile. And then of course we will get into the reading. So you are the completion point of the 12 profiles. And you are said to be the wisest of all of them. You do have that 6th line, which is a role model. That comes with 3 phases of life. So you have the first phase from birth to about 30, which is the trial and error phase, the discovery phase, making and breaking bonds, living as the 3rd line martyr. So you're a double 3, like a 3-3 during the first 30 years of life. So that can be an interesting road. Because, you know, that 3rd line, it has to try things. It has to try them to see if they work. And most times you're discovering what doesn't work, but that's all information for you to discover what does actually work. Unfortunately, though, conditioning, societal blah, blah, blahs, right? Like people see mistakes or quote unquote failures as being a negative thing. So it could have been rough if people thought, man, you know, like this person sure does make a lot of mistakes, or, you know, they're going to figure out all of the things that's wrong with, you know, like everything, a job, a relationship, a TV, you know, like you're going to find out all of the things that are not right. But like I said, you know, it serves a purpose, because that, out of all of the profiles, you are the one that has the most experience in life. So it's kind of like, you know, you get older. Okay, so we were talking about the first 30 years, right? First 30 years, you're living as a 3-3 profile, making and breaking bonds, you know, discoveries, trial and error, bumping up against life and experiences. And then from about 30 to 50, you go up on what they call the roof, and you get a bit more observant. However, that design 3rd line still needs a little bit of stimulation, right? It can't completely retreat like a 6-2 can. So it's kind of like you're like constantly engaging and disengaging, engaging, disengaging. Like this endless, you know, like, is there more to discover? Is there more to figure out? Is there life out there? Like Reba McEntire says, is there life out there? So much I haven't done. Is there life beyond the, what is it? The family and the home. maybe check the song out if it calls to you. But yeah, so, you know, if you find yourself kind of in an unpleasant or discouraging experience, you retreat back up to the roof for some time, unpack that, you know, what worked, what didn't, and why, until the next thing comes along that sparks your interest. So all of that is happening between 30 and 50. And then after 50, kind of integrated all of those lessons, those experiences, all that knowledge, and you come off of the roof. With all of that, I mean, just a pillar of knowledge, right? I mean, it's not like, you know, you don't have to be standing on a stage or, you know, you certainly can, but you don't have to, it's not like necessarily this big grand, you know, thing of being up on a pedestal. But like I said, you certainly can be if you want to. But you recognize that like your uniqueness, there's like so much perfection in that, and you really get comfortable in your groove of things, right? Understanding the process, understanding your process, being your own authority. Serena Williams is a 6'3". I love her, like, her threshold for bullshit is like on the floor. It does not exist. And I love that. Not to say that that's necessarily like part of the profile, but I love that she doesn't put up with it. She doesn't do it. No, ma'am. I think that's all that I have to say for now. I mean, you know, the last 3 readings we read from the Definitive Book of Human Design. So like I said, I just kind of wanted to summarize. I do have an intention of, you know, like for these readings, I want to bring in other people's perspectives on the profiles, because my first line loves that. And it just, you know, it expands my knowledge. It expands my brain. And I love that. So we'll do that next time. Okay, we're just going to shuffle with a bit more intention here. We'll get going with your reading. I'm looking for a message for our role model martyrs. There we go. Okay. Huh? My dog's looking at me like I said something. Ooh, we have the King of Pentacles. Love that. 7 of Cups. Ace of Wands. The Star. I have not seen this card in any of the readings, so I love that. Page of Wands, or Page of Swords, excuse me, 10 of Swords. 4 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so we'll just work our way through here. I love that we start with the King of Pentacles. Like, you got gulls. I love that. This could be, of course, an energy that you are currently in. The King of Pentacles, you know, the kings are the highest expression of the suit, right? Kings have to do with or pentacles, excuse me, have to do with our money, how we make it, how we spend it, how we invest it, our time, It's also about our physical body. So, you know, being a King of Pentacles, this would also be a role model too. Like, you know, either pursuing like a leadership role. But, right, I mean, like, this is the highest, you know, there's nothing after this, right? Like, for the Pentacles, it's the highest position that you can have. So you could be a leader. It's also, you know, like about taking care of the people around you, because kings generally are overseeing a kingdom, right? So people do look to them for guidance or for monetary, you know, compensation or dependency. But this feels like with the Star card, like this feels like, you know, this is something that you hope to become. Or it is like a dream come true. Of course, it would depend on your situation. Like if you are in this energy right now, or if this is what you are striving to be. Like the Star card talks about hope and faith, trusting the process. I see the Star as being that space between the 3D where we are and the 5D where we manifest and dream and wish and all of that stuff, right? The Star is like that space between, connecting the two worlds. So this could be something that you are working on, like pulling down. Like pulling out of the 5D, right? Like really manifesting it. But like I said, it's also, you know, like trust the process. So if you are on track to be heading in this direction in whatever your field is, it could have to do with your job. It could have to do with how you make money. I feel like the King of Pentacles has only come out anytime there's been a 6th line. I like can't remember, but that's just coming to my mind right now. It's like having enough and having an abundance of enough. And then we have the 7 of Cups. So, you know, 7 of Cups talks about options. It could be weighing your options. Cups having to do with our emotions. You know, and there's something different in each one of these cups. So you could be really honing in on what are the things that make me feel good. Like I said, even with this profile, right? Like what works and what doesn't, what stays and what goes. There's a bit of like a daydreamy quality that comes with the 7 of Cups. Again, you know, like just kind of thinking of what things are possible. And if this has been achieved, if you are in this position, then it could be, you know, now you're like, the possibilities have expanded because I have more than enough. So the possibilities of what I can do with this have expanded. And all of those things that you didn't think were possible before, all of a sudden they become possible. And I love that it's paired with the Page of Swords here too, because the Page of Swords having to do with our thoughts, perspectives, ideas, how we perceive situations. And with the page is the youngest of the court cards. So there's kind of this innocence quality to the pages. It's, you know, the excitement behind a brand new idea. It's the excitement that all of these things are possible. Or even if you just pick one, it's, you know, just the thought of it is exciting. You could have a new perspective. coming in here. It's also the sword of truth, that Ace of Swords, which is what, I think, is this a black-footed ferret? Weasel? Not, let me see. Oh, black-footed ferret. Curiosity, playfulness, and resourceful. Yes, very much. This really kind of almost feels about like taking control of your life. Like, really honing in on, like I said, like what makes you feel good. And I love how this ferret is like looking back at the star card. So again, you know, like keeping that focus on what you are bringing into reality. And then we have the Ace of Wands. Pentacles, Cups, Wands, Swords. This is the third reading. Where all of there's a card representing every suit. So again, in every one of those readings, I've said, you know, it's really taking a look at everything. How do I feel about this thing? How am I going to go after it? What actions am I going to take? What resources and materials do I have available to me to do that? Or how are they going to affect my resources and materials? Keeping, you know, clear-headed about it. Maybe even changing your perspective. But the Ace of Wands talks about new desire, passion, creativity. It's that spark, right? And it would be something new. And then we have this Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is like quitting before you even got going. It's interesting because after the 10, I mean, you know, the 10 is a completion. So technically we go back to the Ace of Swords. But, I mean, if you were to keep going, you run into the Page of Swords. So I know that these are, you know, it feels like, you know, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It could even be some self-gaslighting, like not thinking it's possible. Over-analyzing too, like almost just getting stuck in thought instead of moving forward in action. But again, the 10 is a completion. So this would be indicating, I mean, this Ace of Swords could be literally lighting up this 10 of Swords energy. Like, it's got to go. We have considered every option, like every which way that the situation could go. We've experienced it in other ways also. And it's interesting that all of these cards down here represent air. The star card is the card of Aquarius. So there's a lot of mind stuff going on here. A lot of consideration in the mind. How are you thinking about this? Like, how is it living in your mind, right? And then up here, we have this beautiful opportunity here. This could even be kind of how you are showing up, or like how you're presenting. And again, like there's a lot of, options available. You're thinking about the options, weighing options. I mean, it would depend on your situation. And then it's like you choose something and you go for it. So it's kind of like, this is where you want to be, but this is, this is right. It's like parallel, of course. I mean, hello, it's parallel. But yeah, I mean, like, this is what you want to do, and this is how you're thinking about it. There could be, like this, kind of worry about like getting burned, or is it worth it? It is. We have the Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck, which talks about stability. Having a foundation under you with these Four Wands. There's like a harmony and a unity type of energy here. It's generally depicted by two people. So there could be somebody else involved in the situation. You could just be feeling better about what you are putting your time and effort into. But we also have the Knight of Pentacles behind there. So, it could be just a slower moving process. Because the Knight of Pentacles, there's an element of commitment. Because in the 3D, it takes time for investments to mature. It takes time for you to learn something. It takes time for the seeds that you've sown to blossom and become harvestable. And maybe that's the part that you hate. Because the Nine of Swords, like this talks about anxiety and kind of keeping you up at night. But we have this Hierophant energy behind there, which, talks about there's like 3 different things that are going through my mind at one time. I keep like kind of hearing learning and absorbing knowledge. Because the Hierophant can be a teacher, but they generally they'll teach. It's almost like, sharing or passing down knowledge. And then we have the Emperor here. Oh my gosh. And then the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. The Emperor is a leader. There's an authority that comes along, like being your own authority with this, right? And then of course, like this brand new opportunity here, Ace of Pentacles. I love like the imagery on here because it's just kind of like, you know, it just explodes. Like it opens up. The High Priestess behind there, you know, following, that could even be following your strategy and authority, which you should always be checking in with. Determining like what is correct for you. Is this experience correct for you or not? Even if it's not, it's information, right? It's discovery. It's all for the purpose of learning what works and what doesn't. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.